Okay, Shavuot Tov, welcome back, everyone. We are continuing with Sanhedrin. We're on Daf Kuf Gimel Amid Aleph 103A1, and we're at the second statement of Rabbi Yochanan Shimon ben Yochai. So Rabbi Yochanan is saying the statement in the name of Shimon bar Yochai. Okay, a little bit more about the kings and the Jewish kings and the kings of Judah, kings of Israel. Let's take a look. It says by one of the kings of Yehuda, Dichtiv Bereshit Mamlechut Yehoyakim ben Yoshiyahu. In the Bereshit of the kingdom of Yehoyakim, the son of Yeshayahu, which is a very strange lashon. Usually, the language would be in the first year, B'shana Rishon, B'shana Achas, whatever it is. Uchtiv, and by Tzidkiah it says Bereshit Mamlechet Tzidkiah. Bereshit, in the beginning of the kingship of Tzidkiah. Even more interestingly, when it comes to this pasuk in Tzidkiah, it actually says the fourth year. You can actually take a look at this in the Torah or Shalom at the left margin of the Hebrew Gemara on Dalid. It says Bereshit Mamlechet Tzidkiah Melech Yehuda B'shana HaRevi'it, in the fourth year. So how are you saying it's Bereshit? So why are we using? In fact, the Tanakh doesn't use the word Bereshit. I think this might be the only three Bereshits in the whole Tanakh. Bereshit of Sefer Bereshit, Bereshit of Mamlechet Yehoyakim, and Bereshit Mamlechet Tzidkiyahu. Why? Until this point, there was no kingship, and now you're saying Bereshit in the kingship? No, but rather, it's teaching us a lesson. B'shmil Yehoyakim, because of Yehoyakim, Nistakel B'doro. I missed. Elo bikesh HaKadosh Baruch Hu la'achzir the kol kulo l'tohu v'vohu. Hashem wanted to destroy the whole world, to go back to its pre-created state. It's tohu v'vohu, where it's formlessness and empty. That's what Hashem wanted to do. B'shvil Yehoyakim, because of Yehoyakim. Nistakel b'dai, right? But Hashem looked at the generation of Yehoyakim, and they had tzadikim shadayin legolu. Hacheres Ramasker, those tzaddikim that were still in Israel at the time before they were exiled to Babylonia, they were tzaddikim. So Hashem looked at them, his anger became less, and therefore he decided not to destroy the world. Okay, another time, because when it came to the Darash of Tzidkiah, already the Hacheres Ramasker, the tzaddikim, they were already in Bavel. They went there with Yehoiachin. So here they are, the Rishayim are in Eretz Yisrael. So Hashem looks around and he sees Rishayim in Eretz Yisrael. Hashem wanted to turn the whole world into Avavu. Nistakel b'Tzidkiah. Hashem saw Tzidkiah Melech. V'niskarin Adatai. And his anger became abated. So you see, because of all one person, how much can be. Because of Yehoiakim, we're ready to destroy the world. Because Tzidkiah, we're ready to save the world. One person, especially a leader, makes all the difference. Now the Gemara wants to say, but Tzidkiah nami kteh, but Tzidkiah also says, "Vayiras hara b'nei Hashem." The pasuk says it. It's a pasuk in Melachim, and it says that Tzidkiah did evil in Hashem's eyes. So how could you say that because of him Hashem saved the world? The Gemara says, really, he was a tzaddik. He was able to protest, and he didn't protest, even though he himself was a pure tzaddik. He never did anything wrong. But there were people doing things wrong in his generation, and he didn't stop them. He didn't rebuke them. And because of that, the pasuk says that he did wrong in the eyes of Hashem, which is a whole talk for itself. Obviously, he's going to get punished for not protesting. How bad is he going to get punished? So he's not going to lose Olam Haba. But a lesson to us is that when we have the opportunity to protest something, it's not so simple just to look the other way. You might really have to protest. Now, the only thing is, you have to be a genius to know when to protest, when not to protest, how to protest, what to do. It has to be a protest that people will eventually listen to and be worthwhile. Just to do it for no particular reason, it's not going to be helpful. Okay. What is the same pasuk? Ish chacham nishpat et ish evel v'ragas v'sachak v'ein nachat. The wise man contends with the fool, he rages and smiles, yet there is no fear. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu. Ka'asti al Ahaz. I try to deal with the Jewish people this way and that way. When it came to Ahaz, Hashem said I got so angry at him that he made so much avodah zarah in the kingdom of Yehuda. I got him into the hands of the kings of Syria, the kings of Damascus, and thinking that he'll get captured and he'll do tshuva and he'll come back to Hashem. But what did he do instead? Zibach v'kiter le'elohihem. Shinemar, he instead he gave karbanos to the avodah zaras of Syria, of Damascus. Shinemar, v'yizbach le'elohei darmezek ha'makimbo. V'yom ki'uhem al-chei aram, hey ma'azri moisam. Lahem azbech v'yazruni. He said, you know what? They won me, so it must be the avodah zaras are strong. So let me serve the avodah zaras, and then they'll help me out. And it was for him a problem, and for all of Yisrael a ruin. Basically, he could have done tshuva through this bad thing that happened to him, and instead he went with the avodah zarah instead. So Hashem said, you know what? I'm going to take a different approach with another king of Judah. Sahakti im amsayah. I will bestow good fortune upon King Amtsiah. And I'm going to put into his hands the Melech Edom. And this way he'll win, and he'll thank Hashem for helping him win. So what did he do after he won? Instead, he won them, and then took the avodah zarah and bowed down to them. Yemar, he puts them up as gods. So here we go. Hashem says, I don't know what to do with these guys. I deal with them strong, and instead they serve avodah zarah. I deal with them nicely, and again they serve avodah zarah. No matter what I do, they're always serving avodah zarah. Ora papa. Hi, nu the main chain. This is what the people saying. I cried to the master, he did not realize it. I smiled at the master, he did not realize it. One of us does not realize what's happening, whether it's good or bad. So, you don't know what's going on. It's not good. Hashem is trying to send you a message so you should do tshuva, and they're not getting it. Okay. Another explanation over here. And they all sat in the Shar HaTavech. What's Tavech gate? This is a pasuk in Yirmiyah. This is talking about the incident during the Babylonian siege of Jerusalem. The city wall was breached on the 9th of Tammuz, and they said in place they set up headquarters in the Shar HaTavach. So you want to know what Shar HaTavach? Targum Yomnison says it's a middle gate, but Rabbi Yochanan is going to translate a little bit different. Rabbi Yochanan Shimon ben Yochai Mokoim Shemechatichin Bo Halachot. You want to know where this Tavach gate was? This was the Lishkat Hagazit. This was the not Hatavach, but rather Chituch. This was where they sharpened the halachot. This was the Mokum of the Sanhedrin. Amar Papa Hein Imre Inshe Ba'atu de Mare Tol le Zene Taman Kulma Raya Kulte Tol. On the spot where the master formerly hung his weapon, there the base shepherd now hangs his jug, which was once an honorable purpose used, is now put for vulgar use. And that was the start of the destruction of the temple. Okay, continues the Gemara. Yeah, I guess it's somewhat of a sarcasm. Yeah, kind of saying, this place used to be used for halachot, and now it's being used as a headquarter to destroy the Jewish people. Okay, let's move on. Siman al sedeh batim lo te'uneh. By the field of houses, there should not be a fall. Should not be full. That's a siman. All right. So what's the Gemara saying? Amr Chizda Amr Yirmiyah Bar Abba. My dichtiv. What does it mean? Al sedaish atzel avarti. I passed by the field of a lazy man. This is all from Mishlei. Ba'al kerem adam chaser lev. By the vineyard of a man who lacks sense. V'hina Allah chulo kimoshernim. It was all overgrown with thorns. Kasu panav charulim. Its face was covered with nettles. Begeder avanav neherasa, and its stone fence lay in ruins. What's going on here? By the lazy person, it seems it's getting worse and worse as everything's passing. So, also the ish atzulavarti is ahaz. This is ahaz. Ahaz introduced some of the Zarat to Yehuda. V'akel madam haser lev ze Menashe. This is Menashe. V'hine ala chulo kemoshanim ze Amon. Asu panav harulim ze Yoyakim. V'geder avanav nihrasem. The stone fence lay in ruins. That's Tzidkiyahu shenechrabet the mikdash b'yamav. Take a look at note 26. The Maharal Marisham. And describing the ruined farmstead is to be understood as describing process of a progressive decline. First, the laziness of the farmer led to the neglect of the vineyard and the wall, and allows the walls to become covered with nettles and eventually to crumble. A similar process of progressive decline and cause of effect is discernible among the kings of Yehuda. Achaz, sabotaging Torah learning, formed the basis for Menashe's desecration of Torah scrolls and the temple altar, which in turn formed the basis for Ammon's still more reprehensible depravities, which in turn made possible Yehoiakim's open blasphemies, all of which described below, which ultimately led to the destruction which took place in the reign of Tzidkiyahu. So it wasn't that one day the Bible became bad, but rather it was a progressive decline. Arba kitot ein mekabelot penei shchina. 4 classes, they do not merit admittance into the world to come. Now he has to have they have to have actually done these averot all the time. They become part of them. Okay, what is this? Kat letzim. This is a class of scoffers. So anybody who's a letz, anything the rabbi says, he makes fun of. Anything in the world, he doesn't take anything seriously. Everything is a joke. Kat letzim. He does not mikabel shchina. Kat shakanim. The liars. Kat hanifim. A class of flatterers. He tries to curry favor with wrongdoers by praising, otherwise showing approval of them. Okay, this type of guy, and kat misparei lashon hara, and for the guy in the class of people who speak lashon hara, they're all using speech, and they're all twisting the truth. Okay, and therefore they cannot sit with the Shekhinah. Kat leitzim dichtiv mashach yado et lo tzitzim. He withdrew his hand from the scoffers. It don't have anything to do with them. Should not be established before my eyes. Again, nothing to do with them. For before him no flatterer shall come. Again, Hashem doesn't want anything to do with them. You, God, are righteous. Therefore, an evil one who speaks evil should not be allowed in your place. Okay? So, this is 4 classes of people that Hashem doesn't want anything to do with, and they don't get into Olam Haba. Amar Mechizda, Amar Bimiyah, Baraba. My dichtiv, Lo teuna elecha ra'a, v'nega lo yikav be'olecha. Okay? This is a pasuk in the Mizmor Yoshe B'Sete Elyon, right? Mizmor Tzadik Aleph. And in pasuk 10, it says, "Lo teuna elecha ra'a." No evil will befall you. V'nega lo yikav be'olecha. So what does this mean? Lo teuna elecha ra'a shlo yishlot behen yetzer hara. Means the evil inclination should not rule over you. We don't want the yetzer hara being in charge of you. Shlo yishlot behen yetzer hara. Right? That's lo teuna elecha ra'a. V'nega lo yikav be'olecha. No any plague come to your house or to your tent. What does this mean? A person, after being on a road for a while, he comes home and he has a wife. He wants to be intimate with her, and we should never find her being in a safek nida. We're not sure if she's a nida or not. Why not say she should not be a nida? Why are we saying safek nida? So the Farshim explain because safek nida is worse than the vaday nida. Why is that? Take a look at note 37. He's more distressed to find his wife in a doubtful state of nida than in a definite state. If she were in a vaday nida, he would resign himself to the fact, okay, she's nida, what to do? But in the case of doubtful nida, he must abstain from relations because of the possibilities that she's in fact nida. Yet he's tempted by his evil inclination, which argues that in truth she's not. and then he is abstaining unnecessarily. So Safek Nida is worse. So therefore, don't find her in a Safek Nida, which is harder to abstain than being in a Vadai Nida. Now, there is another explanation of this pasuk. Lo tunacha lechera'a shlo yavaucha chalamot ra'im v'hiraru ra'im. May no bad dreams or bad thoughts terrify you. Sometimes a bad thought or bad dream is worse than actual bad itself, right? Because the mental anguish of bad is sometimes a lot worse. Okay. Shouldn't have a son or a student who ruins your reputation because you're his father or his Rebbe and they are not behaving correctly. Now, the Gemara wants to say, who said this pasuk? And we have two explanations of what it means, but who said this pasuk? The Gemara says, Adkan Barcho Aviv. This was David HaMelech's bracha to Shlomo HaMelech. Mikam ve'elach berachto imo. The next pasuk is from his mother. So what's the next pasuk? That says, Ki melecha vitzavelach lishmurcha bichol derachecha. Right? Al kapayim yisaucha pen tigof be'evin raglecha. Al shachal ve'fetin tidro tirmos kefir v'tanin. So she gives a bracha. Who is this still giving a bracha? Shlomo Melech's mother. What's the name of Shlomo Melech's mother? Is Bathsheba. Bathsheba is the granddaughter of who? Of Ahitophel. We saw this last week away. Okay. Okay, we said the pasuk. What does it mean? For God will charge his angels for you to guard you in all your ways. On palms they will carry you, lest you strike your foot against the rock. Upon the lion, the viper, you will trample the young lion and the serpent. So the mother is giving a bracha for him to stay safe. Okay. The Rashi says the tender prayers for Solomon's physical safety and comfort are characteristic of a mother's blessing. That's number 40, not 40. Okay. Now the rest of the psukim in Kam ve'elach berachto shemayim. Now comes Shemayim and gives him a bracha. What's the bracha that Shemayim gives him? Ki vi hashak v'afaliteu asegeveu ki yadashim yikra eni ve'inahu imo anochi v'sara achalitzeu achabedeu orechamim ashbeu v'alei v'shuati, for he has yearned for me and I will deliver him. I will elevate him because he knows my name. He will call upon me and I will answer him. I am with him in distress. I will release him and I will honor him. I will satiate him with a long life and I will show him my salvation. This is all in first person. Hashem is saying this prayer. Hashem is saying this to Shlomo HaMelech as a bracha. Okay, fine. Moving on. Omer Rav Shimon ben Lakish. My dichtiv v'yimonam reshaim oram zora rama tishaver. What is meant by what is written, and from the wicked will be withheld their light, their high arm will be broken. Mipnei ma ayin sharashaim tiluya. If you open up a Tanakh, or take a look at note number 3. You see the way the Rishaim, the ayin in the word Rishaim is not written in the same line as the other letters, but rather slightly higher. The visual effect of this variation is that the word may be read as if the letter ayin were missing, becoming Rashim, poor persons. So what's the lesson here? The ayin is not in this word. And from the wicked and from the poor will be withheld their light. What does this mean? It teaches you that once a person becomes destitute of friends below in this world, he becomes similarly destitute from friends, he becomes poor in heaven. A person hated by people, note number 4, the sign that God too hates him. This is indicated by the plural Rashim. He's subject to 2 forms of poverty. He's poor in this world and in heaven. Okay? Similar in Pirkei Avot, we say, if the spirit of one's fellow is not pleased with him, the spirit of the omnipresent is not pleased with him. The teaching can have 2 meanings. When someone is hated by the broad spectrum of populace, both great and small alike, it is a sign that God, for good reason, has implanted hatred toward him. God would not have done so to one he loves. People's feelings towards him are thus a barometer for God's feelings toward him. B, a Jew who acts in a way that causes people to hate him brings disrepute to the Torah. Hashem hates him for this. Thus, people's hatred of him is the cause of God hating him. So it goes both ways. Either God makes people hate him, or people hate him, then God's going to hate him because what is he doing to make people hate him? So the Gemara says, so if that's the case, and you're learning Rashim, he's pouring this world and that world, in plural. So why you have the ayin at all? Below nechteve kilal. Don't write the ayin at all. Hadamar pnei kavod shel David. Hadamar neshim kvodo shel Nehemiah ben Chachalia. What's going on? David had many enemies. Note number 5. And it's really in the book of Samuel. And he himself says in Psalms. The inclusion of ayin teaches the principle the one who is hated below is also hated above applies only to the wicked. If there's a tzaddik that we know he's a tzaddik, but people hate him anyway, that's because of jealousy. That's not true hatred. Same thing with Nehemiah. He had many gentle goyim enemies who attempted to kill him for rebuilding the Mikdash, and ultimately he had many Jewish enemies also, because he made a lot of Jews who were intermarried. He made them separate. He told them to separate from the Goyish wives, and so they hated him. But that again was not the same hatred as we're talking about above. Talking about hatred, people really hate the guy. He's not a tzaddik. Yeah, if he's a tzaddik and they hate him because they're jealous of him or they're upset with the way he's establishing the halakha, that's not the same as that's why there's a ayin that said sha'im. The bad guy, they hate him here and there. That okay, fine. Tanu Rabbanon. Menashe hayashayna hamishim hamisha panim b'torat kohanim. Menashe HaMelech, who did a lot of Uzra, eventually repented, but he learned 55 ways of learning Sefer Vayikra. All right, another word for Sefer Vayikra is Torat Kohanim. So he learned 55. That's how many years he was king. Kineged Shinei Malchuto, corresponding to the years of his kingship. Some say he learned it when he was still a kid. Some say he learned it when he was Chazir B'Tshuva. Okay. Ahav was even a greater Talmid Chacham. Shmonim Hamisha. Even though he's a bigger Baal of the Zara, he learned Vayikra 85 different ways. Yiravam, the guy who started all the problems, Me'a Ushlosha. He learned 103 ways of learning Sefer Vayikra. Note number 9, the Maharasha explains the Bryce's point is the point that these 3 kings did not lose a person to come out of ignorance. It wasn't that they didn't know halakha. They didn't know the Torah. They knew full and well. They were experts in Torah. In spite of this, they chose their own free will to go against Hashem and the Torah. Therefore, they fully deserve their punishment. Tanya, Avshalom, the son of David Melech, Avshalom, Elo Hayek Lom Abba, Shnemer Vayaku et Avshalom Vayamituhu, Vayaku Olamazeh Vayamituhu La'olam Haba. Now, this Braita is not necessarily according to everyone because there is a Gemara elsewhere. There's a Gemara elsewhere that David Melech took Avshalom out of Gehenna, right? He said Bini, 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 Bini 7 times, and then the 8th time he got him into Olam Haba. Or some say, so according to this, you would say, according to this opinion, he did not get him into Olam Haba. Rather, he got his head attached back to his body for burial, and that's what it was, the 8th Bini, but he didn't go into Olam Haba, according to this opinion of Rabbi Meir. That's a mahloket. Tanya, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar Omer, Mishum Rabbi Meir. Anytime it says by the Malchei Israel, not by the Malchei Yehuda, because we saw Malchei Yehuda, it says that Tzidkiah did bad, but he didn't really do bad. He does have Olam Haba. Rather, we're talking about any Malchei Israel, and says they did bad in the eyes of Hashem. Lo hayin v'lo nidunin. They will not come back to life. They don't have resurrection of the dead, but neither are they condemned to Gehenna for their sins. If you take a look at note 12 on 103b2, rather their souls will wander aimlessly through the world, neither enjoying the bliss of the world to come, nor suffering the tortures of Gehenna. It's reasonable to assume that they will suffer anguish at being prevented from returning to the source of the world to come. Why did these people go into Gehenna? Because they protected the lives of the Jews. And they fought wars protecting the Jewish people. Okay? So, interestingly, these are the souls that are what's it called, wandering aimlessly through the world. I don't know, is this ghosts? I'm not sure. There seems to be some spirits that are wandering in the world, and they don't get to go into Gehenna or to Gan Eden. They're stuck here. Their spirits are stuck here. Okay, fine. The Gam Dam Noki. What's Kafkela? Is that a ghost, or is like a dibuk? Vigam place. Oh, place like purgatory or something in between. Not sure. So because the Yad Ramah says that they're aimlessly wandering around the world. Okay. Vigam dam noki shavach Menashe harbe mioid ad asher milet Yerushalayim pelef. Menashe shed very much innocent blood until he filled Jerusalem with blood from end to end. Levad mechato asher chtit Yehuda asat Rabbi Hashem aside from the Avodah Zarah. Now, what does it mean? He filled the blood from pe lefe, which means mouth to mouth. But what does it mean? We're translating it as end to end. Hachitargimu shaharag Yeshaya. They explained to me that Menashe killed Yeshaya. Yeshaya is someone who spoke pe lefe. He spoke to Hashem. He was a Navi. And he killed Yeshaya. Who was Yeshaya to Menashe? It was his grandfather. Yeshaya was a Navi, right? He came to Chizkiah, you're going to die because you're not getting married. And Chizkiah said, let me marry your daughter. And Chizkiah Davin, he survived. They married Yeshaya's daughter. And they had Menashe, according to others, another son as well, Avshalom. And eventually Menashe ended up killing his own grandfather, Yeshaya. And that's what it means, that it was killed Pelapet. He made another Zara that needed to be picked up by 1,000 people. And then he made them move it. And it was too heavy even for 1,000 people to move it. And every day, the Avodah Zarah would come crushingly, heavily on these people and would kill 1,000 people every day. And like that, he caused a lot of blood to be spilled. Okay? Who, according to which opinion, is the reflection of what Rabbi Rechana said that a single soul of a righteous person is equal to the entire world? According to the opinion, who said that Menashe killed Yeshaya, which means a lot of blood was shed because of one person. That is the opinion of the tzaddik is shakol, equal to the kol ha'olam kulo. Ktiv Pesach Tipselim says Menashe made an avodah zarah, and then it said he made avodah zaros in plural. When he put the avodah zarah in the mikdash, first he made it with one face. Okay, well, but in the end he made the avodah zarah with 4 sides of faces. Why? He said, if the Shekhinah comes in from one side, they may not see the face of avodah zarah. If it comes in from the other way, because it's only one side as a face. So he said, I want to tick off the Shekhinah so much. I want to get it so upset. I'm going to make a avodah zarah face on all 4 sides. So no matter which way the Shekhinah comes into the mikdash, it will right away see the avodah zarah. Ahaz hemido ba'aliyah. Ahaz started off the avodah zarah. He put it in the 2nd floor of the temple. Okay. Menashe hemido behecha. But Menashe took her and put it inside the hecha, in the kodesh, not the kodesh kodashim, right outside the kodesh kodashim. He put up an avodah zarah. Shnei yasem the pesach ashira asher asam bebayit asher amar Hashem el David ve'Shlomo beno bebayit zazeh Yerushalayim asher b'chati mikol shetei Yisrael asim et shemi olam. That's where Menashe put it. Amon, so in the place where Hashem said, I'm going to put my name, that's where he put it instead. He put that avodah zarah. Amar Amon ichisol bet kodesh hakodashim. The Amon, he put it inside the kodesh kodashim. He went ahead and he put it all the way inside. Shneimar katzar hamatzeh mehistareah v'mesachet tzara v'hitkanes. The couch is too short and the cover too narrow. There's no more space. So to speak, it's like having a bed, and you have now the husband and the wife and a third person coming in there. There's not going to be enough space on that bed. Here you have the Jewish people, and you have Hashem and the Kodesh Kodashim, and all of a sudden you're throwing in a third person, a third being in there. For this couch is too short for 2 companions to have dominion over at one time. Okay? You can't have everybody there. And the cover is too narrow. Tzara could also be used as a lashon of a second wife, right? When Shulman Ahmani, the Yonatanki have a matela hakara, have a kabachem, because this person would cry. Mishikatabok kones kanen niyayam. It says about Hashem that he is greater, like a mountain, the waters of the sea. He can split the sea and everything like that. Ta'aseh lo masecha tzara. They put a masecha and avodah zarah now to become his tzara. What? Look at note 27. Shall one who pushes back the powerful cease to make room for the dry land now be constrained by the presence of a lifeless idol? It's a sad consequence of the Israel sins. They brought a rival idol into a Kodesh Kedeshim, so to speak. A rival, so to speak. Okay. Now, Ahaz, what else did he do? Bitel et avodah. He abolished the temple service, got rid of it. V'hatam the Torah. He sealed off the Torah. Okay, shneimar tzor te'udah hatom Torah b'lumudai. He wanted to stop teaching, right? And this is what he reasoned. Take a look at note 28, second paragraph, second line towards the end. Of the children do not study Torah, there will in time be no Torah scholars, right? This reminds me of that famous letter that the Nazis put out when they were running after the Jews and trying to kill the Jews. They put out a letter, directive to all the SS officers that their focus should be on those who learn Talmud, to kill them. And they wrote, because if we get rid of them, there'll be no more Jewish nation. So Ahaz is already a king of Yehuda, already came up with this plan before. Let's get rid of the Talmidei Chachamim, get rid of the yeshivot, close them down, and there will be no more Talmidei Chachamim, no more. Okay, now Menashe, Kadarat Askarot, Menashe, he scratched out Hashem's name from the Torah scrolls. V'haras mizbech, and he tore down the altar. Amon serap et Torah. Amon burned the Torah. Not only that, v'heilas mamit agabe mizbech, and he put the mizbech out of service, that it grew cobwebs, spider webs on it. Some want to learn in note 30. Samamit means a lizard. In fact, they mean a gecko. Some say it's a monkey, some say it's a bird, but most say it is a gecko type of lizard. And it was a lizard that even the goyim did not bring it up on their mizbechot, on their altars. It was bad superstitions on this gecko, and yet Menashe, just to get Hashem upset, not Menashe, who was this? Amon. He went and he brought this lizard on the mizbech. Okay, further, more stuff that they did. Ahaz hitirat ha'irava. He went ahead and he permitted what's it called? Sexual relations of all types. He didn't care. Anything that was asur in the Torah, he said mutar. They started copying the Canaanim. Okay. Menashe went and balachoto. He went further and he had relations with his own sister. Amon ba'alimo. Amon, who's even worse, went and slept with his mother. Amon, ashma. One says, what did he do so bad? He burned the Torah. He had relations with his mother. His mother said to him, you're having intercourse with the from the place where you came out. Is there any pleasure in such a thing? He said, what pleasure? I'm only doing this to really get Hashem upset. That was his goal. His goal wasn't even to have any pleasure. His goal was to get God upset. When Yehoiakim came, he said, these earlier guys, they didn't know how to get upset, Hashem upset. I'm going to tell you how to get Hashem upset. We don't need God. The only thing we need Hashem for is his son. Right? We don't even need sun anymore. Now we have Peruvian or Parveim gold, which is artificial light, which we don't need the sun anymore. He told Oro, let him take his light and leave us alone. We don't need God. His subject said to him, who isn't gold and silver all belonging to Hashem. Shnema liha kesef lihazav neum Hashem tzivakot. Yaakov said, he already gave it to us. Shnema Shemaim Shemaim la Hashem. It says in Tehillim, Hashem gave us the land, so everything's on the land belongs to us, not God's. Goodbye, God. We don't need you. Now we're able to survive without you. Get you out of here. And this was the kfirah, because of these kings of Judah. These are all kings of Judah, by the way, not of Israel. These are kings of Yehuda. Yeah. Hello?
They were in charge of 2 tribes, basically.
Yeah, Judah and Benjamin. And there were some Leviim, and there were some Shimon. There may have been some of the other tribes within the territory, but primarily Judah and Benjamin. And these were supposed to be the better ones, right? Because their kingdom lasted longer. But at some point, in the history, they started marrying into the northern kingship, the south. The Malchi Yehuda started marrying into Malchi Yisrael, and this way, the woman that they married brought the Avodah Zarah over, and eventually, as time passed, society gets ruined, and this is what happened. And obviously, with such things, you can now make sense of why there was a destruction, why there was a churban. Okay, let's move a little further. Amalei Rav Bar Mori. Why didn't we list Yehoiakim as someone who doesn't have a portion in the world to come? He didn't want God anymore. He said, throw God away. So because it's written concerning him, now the rest of the matters of Yehoiakim and the abomination which he committed and that which was found on him. That's not the reason why we didn't say it. What does it mean? My being what does it mean found on him? One says he was so in love with his that he got it tattooed on his male member, on his male organ. He was so against Hashem, he put God's name, I'm assuming Yud he put it on his male member to get Hashem very upset. Now, Amarle, Rabbi Amari said, "B'melachim lo shamati." I have not heard why Yehoiakim was not included in the Mishnah as having no portion in the world to come. Take a look at note 41. Two opinions. Yehoiakim does in fact have a share of world to come, but I don't know why. That's Rashi. But the Yad Ramah, he says he certainly does not have a share in the world to come, but I do not know why he wasn't listed. Meaning, according to Yad Ramah, for sure Yehoiakim doesn't have any Olam Haba. Why it's not listed, I don't know. Okay. So now, concerning commoners, I have heard of why a sinful commoner was not listed. There's a bad guy, did bad things, and he wasn't listed on some of the Nefchel. Why? Because bread was always available for those going by. He used to help people by giving them food. All who traveled to and fro to the Levites, they stopped at Micha's house. Okay? So what's going on over here? Micha would give a lot of poor people, travelers and stuff like that, food. And since he gave them food, he's not on the list of not having Olam Haba. Alternatively, you take a look at the note at the end of note 43, the third paragraph. Alternatively, in truth, Micha has no share in the world to come. The Gemara merely on the account of his hospitality, this embarrassing fact was not publicized in the Mishnah. So the opinion again, does this mean he does have or doesn't have? Anyway, who is this Micha? Micha, remember, this is the guy that Moshe Rabbeinu saves. He gets the paper that says Aleh Shor, come up the ox. He's the one who makes Egel Azov. Later on, when he gets into Israel, he makes another bite of Avodah Zarah, and he has Avodah Zarah, and he's bringing korbanot up to it. In fact, it's so close to Mishkan Shiloh that the smoke gets mixed up. At one point, the Ulachim wanted to go kill him. Hashem said, "Don't touch him." Va'avar bayam tzara v'ika vayam galim. Amram Yochanan ze pisilo shel Micha. This is the Avodah Zarah Micha. Tanya, Rabbi Natan Omer, migrab the Shiloh shlosha milim. From where Gerab, where the Micha was, to Shiloh, Mishkan Shiloh, was only 3 mills. It was very close. The smoke would go up to Shemaim, and both of them would get mixed up. Big Shemach the ministering angels want to go and get rid of him. Leave him alone. As his bread is available to those wayfarers, the people going by. People need the bread, and he's there. And therefore don't touch him. Very interestingly, you help someone food, Hashem keeps you alive, even though you deserve death. Think about that. Okay, now, because of this, because of Micha, eventually, the whole situation that happened with the Pelegish Begivah, why so many Jews died over there. Most of Shevi ben Yamin died, and over 40,000 lives of the allied tribes also died. Why? As divine punishment. Why? What happened? Amalei Kadosh Baruch Hu b'chvodi lo mechitem ha'kavodah shel basar adam mechitem. Hashem says, for my honor, you didn't protest. You didn't come and say, Micha, shut down your base of Zara. No one came and protested. Everyone let it happen. But some Pelegish, she ended up being killed as they were having their way with them. And Benjamin, some bad people in Benjamin were having their way with the Pelegish. Everyone came and made a whole big deal. Just as I'm gonna let a lot of these people die because you didn't what's it called? Protest for my sake. You protested for Basar Adam. The Ramban interestingly points out. Take a look at the next page in the notes, second paragraph. Explains that for all its depravity, for all its bad thing, the rape was not a capital crime. For the woman was not an Ashes Ish. He was only a Pelegish, not a married woman. Okay? Now, and the assailants had not intended to kill the woman. That whatever they did was bad, but not that bad. Worship of Micha's idol, on the other hand, was a sin deserving of death. The nation's decision to prosecute the attackers while ignoring the idolaters was therefore considered a severe sin. Interesting Ramban. Okay. Continuing just a little bit more. Amar Yochanan Mishum Yossi ben Kisma, Gedola Legima. Great indeed is the deed of providing foods to travelers and guests. Shechika Shtei Mishachot Misrael. For the failure to do so, repulsed two families from Israel. When Ammon and Moab didn't give them water and bread, therefore they're not allowed to join the Jewish nation, the males. Yochanan in his own name, Marcheket et Hakrovim. Failure to display hospitality, to give food, repulses those who would otherwise be near. Umakrevet et Harochakim, and bring those who are far. Uma'alamet einayim min hashayim, and causes the eyes of God to look away from the wicked. And causes the divine spirit to descend upon fake prophets. And one inadvertent failure is accounted by God as a willful failure to do so. Now we're going to explain all these. It repulses those who would otherwise be near. That was Ammon and Moab. They live close to Eretz Yisrael. They are descendants of Lot. They're cousins of ours. They should have been able to join the Jewish nation. Because they didn't come with food and water, they were pushed away. And it brings close those who are far. Yitro nothing to do with the Jewish people. But Yitro told Moshe, come and eat bread with me when Moshe was in Midian. Therefore, his grandchildren were able to be sitting in the Sanhedrin. Hema hakinim, right? Yitro hakini. Habaim achmat avi bet rechav. וכתיב, התם ובני קני חותם משה. עלו מעין התמרים את בני יהודה, מדבר יהודה, אשר בני ערד, וילך וישב את העם. So you see that they became part of the Sanhedrin because Yitro gave Moshe bread. And Hashem closes his eyes to their evil deeds. Mimicha Hashem said, don't touch him. He's giving food. Ido Hanavi, he was sent by Hashem to go tell Yeravim what he's doing was wrong. And Hashem said, when you're there, don't eat anything, don't go into anyone's house. So he goes, he tells Yeravim, he stops Yeravim's hand, Yeravim says, I'm sorry, he gets to movement again, and then he's leaving, and then a fake Navi comes and tells him, come eat in my house. Hashem said you should come eat. So, and Ido, he went, and he started eating. And while he was there, Hashem came to this fake Navi to tell Ido, you're going to die. So, what's it called? So you see, a fake Navi got Nevuah because he gave bread. And an inadvertent failure to give proper hospitality is accounted by God as willful. Why? Because when David HaMelech was running away from Shaul, Yehonatan told him, go run. But Yehonatan didn't give him any bread. So David had to go to Ir Nov HaKohanim, and he spoke to Achimelech, the guy in charge, and he gave him bread. Doeg was there. Doeg saw this. Doeg went to Shaul. Shaul said, go kill them out. And because of that, everyone got in trouble. David got in trouble. Shaul and his children got in trouble. Everybody got in trouble. Right? If Yonatan would have given David 2 loaves of bread for his flight, he people of Nova now have been destroyed. And Doeg would have gone into Olam Haba. And Shaul and his 3 children would not have been punished, and David wouldn't have been punished. We saw his punishment right before. So everything happened because of an inadvertent failure to provide David with food. So very important lesson to give everybody food. Apparently, it's a very good thing to give people food, to give them. Hashem looks away, doesn't punish you, and it has a big zechut as well. Okay, this is where we're going to get up to today.
But I thought I was under the impression that Jonathan gave a sign to David that there is a problem with his father, right? So there was a distance between them. How?
Go back to that, Navi. Go back to that. That's actually the Haftarah we read on Machar Chodesh. It says he gave him a sign, and then afterwards they were talking again. And the Chafetz Chaim wants to say because Yonatan didn't want to say Lashon Hara about his father, so therefore he gave it through a sign. But they were nearby each other, and they spoke again afterwards. It wasn't like they were far away. He just didn't want to say it directly that my father's trying to kill you. Therefore, he gave it through a sign. But he was close enough to give him bread. And since he didn't give him the bread, looks like all this happened. That's what the Gemara is saying.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right. Yashir Koach. Shavua Tov.